So, what inspired you to draft this bill?
Well, actually, Anthony, since I ran for office, I first ran for office in 2010. And one of the primary things that I believe in is the sanctity of life. In fact, the Arkansas Republican Party platform states on the very first page or two, it lists the principles of the Arkansas Republican Party. And the very first principle that it lists in the 2020 platform is belief in Almighty God. The second is the sanctity of life. And so I have been consistent and voted for, supported, and sponsored pro-life legislation over the course of my tenure over the past decade, and continue to do that. And what specifically prompted us to file this bill is that even though in our own state we filed over 30 pro-life bills in the past 10 years or so here, and we have been able to curb abortion and restrict abortion and hopefully save more lives, the bottom line is that in this nation, we now have had over 62 million innocent little babies that have been aborted in this country, and those babies have been killed. And sometimes, and most often, the form of that killing is the dismemberment of those babies inside of a mother's womb. And if you've ever taken a look at what abortion really is, I think it's important for students, especially as you weigh this, to weigh the humanity and the morality of it. And so I'm sitting here just like you as an American citizen with the knowledge that under the color of law, if you will, the judges, 7 judges in 1973 made a decision, and that decision, they said that you could take the life of a human being, a little baby. And now 62 million have been killed in our country, and we believe it is a crime against humanity. We believe just as dreadful as the 87 years from 1776 until 1863, 87 years slavery was legal in the United States of America. And obviously it was legal even before that in the British colonial America that was here. And the people of the 1850s finally had enough, and they said, we can't do this anymore. We need to abolish abortion. And so the Republican Party was born with the specific intent to abolish slavery, because we knew it was wrong, that they were trying to say that African Americans, black-skinned people, were less human than whites, and it's wrong. And so we believe that just as that decision was a crime against humanity, we believe that the decision in 1973 that said human babies are not worthy of saving or protecting is wrong. And I would have to say, regardless of whether you think you have supported abortion or whether you've opposed it, you have to admit 62 million dead American babies is a problem for this nation to deal with. And so in Arkansas, Amendment 68 was passed in 1988, Anthony. Over 75% of Arkansas people said, we put an amendment in the Constitution that we protect life from the moment of conception, and the only exception for an abortion was to save the life of a mother. And so SB 6 reiterates what this state said in 1988 to say that in our state, we want to abolish abortion except to save the life of a mother. And we believe that that is the appropriate thing. And this is being done with the express intent to hopefully get the court to take up a bill that they would revisit the Roe v. Wade decision and return to the states the right and the power to decide whether we protect life or not.
What is the next step for the bill? Does it have to go to the other chamber of the House, or can it now go to the courts? What is next for it?
The bill passed unanimously out of the Senate Public Health Committee. And yesterday we had 27 out of 35 senators, that's 77% approval. That's called a supermajority in the legislature. 27 senators, all of the Republicans, except for one Republican that voted no, all of them voted that we want to take a stand for life. And so it has already been assigned to the House Public Health Committee, where it will have a hearing in the House Public Health Committee. And then once it passes there, it will go to the House floor. And once it receives an affirmative vote there, then it will be sent back to the Senate and enrolled and sent forward to the governor's office for his signature or his action.
And there also have been some voices of some people that have said that the bill goes too far, even by some pro-life people that are saying that the bill would go too far to be able to survive going all the way up to the Supreme Court. What do you have to say to those people?
Of all of the different groups I actually put on the desks of the senators letters from 12 different organizations. I will probably not be able to name them all, but I can tell you that there are no pro-life organizations at all that oppose this bill. And there are none of them that spoke up in opposition to the fact that we wanted to save all the babies except for a situation where the life of the mother might be in danger. So none of them. And so Arkansas Right to Life, that is the affiliate for National Right to Life, they're for the bill. In fact, they asked me to file this bill. Arkansas Family Council, they're for the bill. Bishop Anthony Taylor of the Catholic Church that oversees the diocese and all the Arkansas Catholics in our state, he wrote a written endorsement of the bill and asked us to vote for that. And I thank Bishop Taylor for doing that. National Association of Christian Lawmakers are for the bill. And most importantly, Anthony, something and an organization I want you to check out. Students for Life. They're college students all over America. I think there are over 1,200 groups around this nation, and they were some of the most supportive of this bill. In fact, they had a representative come and speak for the bill at our press conference. In addition, we had the Arkansas Prayer Caucus. We had the Arkansas Faith and Ethics Council. We had the Arkansas, now I'm faltering because I don't have my list in front of me. We had so many different groups. The Justice Foundation, that was one as well. And so we had all of those people that were lined up for it. In fact, we had even more people come out and say they were in support of the bill as it is now than even in 2013, when we actually introduced the heartbeat bill, and we were the first state in the nation to pass the heartbeat bill back in 2013. And so they're always going to be the Planned Parenthood arguments. And what they try to do is to use situations that are absolutely horrible, that I would never want to find anybody in those situations. And those situations they'll bring up rape or incest. But the simple question is, you have to ask, are you dealing with a human being or not? And how is it that you think killing a human being somehow takes care of the crime that might have been committed? And these are about 1%, according to the statistics of all abortions every year. Less than 1% typically result from that situation. And so in Arkansas, in this bill, so the people don't misunderstand because they try to demonize things they don't understand. In the bill, it actually states there is no prohibition for a woman to use a contraceptive before a pregnancy can be medically detected. That includes emergency contraception that's called the morning after pill or Plan B or an IUD device. So there is a window there that if, God forbid, somebody ever was in that situation. I've had one of my own family members, a minor girl in our family, was raped. And that man was prosecuted and he was in prison and he had to serve time for his crime. And as far as I'm concerned, he should still be serving time for that crime. What a horrible thing to do to anybody. And so if that happens, a family could take a daughter or a woman, if she was an adult and on her own. There's nothing that prevents the use of what is called emergency contraceptive measures before pregnancy can be medically detected. And the only person that would ever receive penalty under this bill would be an abortion doctor. And that's what we're trying to stop, is abortion doctors making money off of killing babies and encouraging its use as birth control. We're better than that. We're more humane than that. And so we feel that this is a crime against humanity, and the public policy of this state, and frankly, this country, should be that all lives matter, born and unborn, and we should protect those lives.
Absolutely. So, what is the next step in the general pro life movement? And, like you said, to move to a society that is more humane and has all included in life?
Well, let's put it in perspective for you, and that's a great question. 62 million. I think if you look up, you're going to find that there's somewhere north of 30 million people in the entire nation of Canada. So somebody watching this interview, what would you think if the report on the headline tonight were that Canada, the entire population had been wiped out? We would obviously think this is horrible. It's a crime against humanity. In World War II, we definitely know of the Jews and the Holocaust. Horrible crime against humanity, 6 million. But in all of World War II, when you look at all of the deaths, civilian and military, the last estimate that I saw reported is that all of the deaths surrounding World War II was about 66 million people around the world died in World War II. And even in America, we've never had 60 million people lost in the wars that we fought. But here we are with 62 million babies being killed, and they're doing it for money. And even in our own state, they're making money on killing these innocent babies. And so we found that though they said that abortion was going to be safe, rare, and legal in 73, it's definitely not rare. It is definitely not even safe in many instances, because we've had people over time, there have been women that have died. We had a rape victim that testified for this bill the other day. She was date raped at 15 years of age and told a horrible story. She was encouraged to go get an abortion, and she said that they did not properly anesthetize her, and she could feel what was happening during that abortion, and said that after that, she was so damaged that she could not have children. And she's had terrible, terrible emotional trauma from this. And so there are consequences, and we had over 4,000 testimonies. I would be happy to even provide you a link to the testimonies of women that had been in these situations. And they said, don't do this, because they spent years of agony and trauma afterwards when they realized that they had killed a living human being in their womb. It wasn't just a blob of tissue. The last thing I'll tell you on this, and you'll say, where's the projection? Where's the pro-life movement headed? The pro-life movement is headed that we want another case to look at Roe v. Wade. It's one of the most contentious cases in the history of this nation. In fact, it's probably not well known that the US Supreme Court actually has overturned its own decisions over 200 times. Many people don't know that. So, slavery, they overturned the Dred Scott decision. Then the Plessy versus Ferguson decision, which was the separate but equal, was a 58-year precedent of the United States Supreme Court. And none of us would argue that segregation and separate but equal is right. We would all say now that that's wrong, because it was wrong. And finally, in the Brown case, they overturned that precedent. And that's what people are asking around the nation, is for us to revisit Roe v. Wade and overturn this decision and stop this bloodlust that is occurring in our country. It's not proper, it's not humane, and it's not something reflective, I think, of what we really feel in our hearts when we care and love for human beings in our country.
And for those people that are looking to help with your cause, with the pro-life movement, that want to make a real difference, even if they're just a teacher, a firefighter, a lawyer, or a doctor, what can they do to actively help in this fight?
Well, I urge you to get involved on a long-term basis. And I would urge every student at UCA to go out and look at Students for Life. Find out about that organization, educate yourself. And if you're watching this today and you want to support SB 6 and you want to abolish abortion in Arkansas, go to jasonrapert.com. That's just my name.com. And you immediately are asked if you want to sign a petition that will be presented to Asa Hutchinson, almost said President Hutchinson, Governor Hutchinson, and ask him to sign the bill, because we believe it's time to take a stand. And I believe that and predict that SB 6 is going to be passed by the House of Representatives, and it will be presented to Governor Hutchinson. As a matter of fact, something that has never been done at the Arkansas Capitol before, the other day at our press conference, we rolled out the names of 250,000 American citizens, including 40,000 Arkansas citizens, on a scroll that stretched from the doors of the Arkansas Senate all the way to the center of the Capitol. And these were people that were part of a movement called the Moral Outcry, asking for the Supreme Court to overturn that decision. So we've had thousands of people that are recorded with a moral outcry, which, by the way, they say the total now reaches 350,000 people that have signed that. And then I was last told that in the matter of the last 10 days, we've had a little over 6,000 people sign the petition that I mentioned at jasonrapert.com, and we're continuing to roll that out. We believe that Arkansas, which was just named the most pro-life state in the nation the other day by Americans United for Life, we believe that we are uniquely positioned to take a stand, and we're proud to do so.
Senator Rapert, thank you so much for this time.
You bet. Good being with you.